Welcome to the text reading overview and demonstration for word connections. Text reading is the 7th and final component of word connections and should take about 8 minutes. The purpose of word connections is to engage students in reading connected text, and this is incredibly important in developing reading proficiency for struggling readers. The connected text students will be engaging in are either going to be sentences or passages, and this is meant to increase exposure to affixes and multisyllabic words in context. In lessons 1 through 5, students are going to be reading sentences. Then in lessons 6 through 15, those sentences change to maze sentences, where students will circle the correct multisyllabic word when given 2 options. In lessons 16 through 20, students will read close sentences, where they have to choose an affix missing from a multisyllabic word. And finally, in lessons 21 through 40, students are going to be reading passages or informational text. Materials for the teachers can be found in the teacher manual. So all the scripting for each lesson within text reading can be found within the teacher's manual, along with the text reading keywords for lessons 21 through 40 that will be used to introduce passages to students. Materials for students are the sentences and passages for text reading, and these can be found in the student materials booklet. Now time for the instructional routine for text reading. So first, teachers are going to introduce and define keywords using the text reading keyword resource in the teacher's manual. Then students are going to engage in reading. So students are going to read the text aloud at least 2 times using various oral reading practices. This could include choral reading, where teachers and students are reading in unison or together, a whisper read, where students are whisper reading to themselves, an echo read, where the teacher's reading and then the students repeat, or a popcorn read, where students are taking turns reading the passage or sentence. Then teachers are going to call students' attention to irregular words and multisyllabic words in the text. And finally, after reading, teachers are going to ask comprehension questions to check for understanding. These can range from both literal to inferential comprehension questions. Here are the error correction procedures for text reading. First, if a student pronounces a word incorrectly or pauses more than 2 seconds, you can provide the word. This might sound something like, "Oh, that word is international." What word? International. If a student reads a word incorrectly before error correction can occur, or it's a little unnatural, you can provide incorrectly read words immediately after reading. So you could say something like this. Let's go back. This word right here is international. What word? International. This word right here is predator. What word? Predator. Now time for the text reading demonstration. I'm going to provide a demonstration for a text passage reading within lessons 21 through 40. Today's passage is called "Do All Animals Fart?" There are a few important words we want to pay attention to while we read. One of the words we want to pay attention to is digest. What word? Yes, digest. And digest means to break down into materials that can be absorbed by the body. Another one of our important words that we're going to read about today and find in our text is predator. What word? Yes, predator. A predator is an animal that hunts other animals for food. And finally, our last important word is zookeeper. What word? Yes, zookeeper. A zookeeper is someone who takes care of animals in a zoo. Now it's time to go ahead and read our passage. I want you to choral read the passage with me. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and read it. When we eat, we don't just swallow food. We also swallow air, which contains gases. The next time you're at the zoo, consider putting your nose around the sea lions. All right, let's read it one more time. And this time, let's do a whisper read on your own. All right, nice reading. Let's look at a few words. I want you to find the word reabsorb in the passage. What's the prefix? Yeah, re. What does it mean? It means again, right. So what would reabsorb mean? Right, it would mean to absorb again. I want to ask you now a couple questions about the passage. First, do all animals fart? Right, no, all animals don't fart. We found out that the sloth doesn't fart. Why do you think scientists have been studying whether animals fart? All right, lastly, if you were an animal, would you prefer to fart to protect yourself from predators like a snake, or not fart at all like a sloth? All right, we have some tips for implementing text reading within word connections. First, you can vary your read aloud options, and these range from easiest to more challenging. So you can start with an echo read, then a choral read, a popcorn read where students are taking turns, and then also a whisper read. So you can change these up to make sure students are engaged within the text reading component. Also, it's important to make sure that all students are finger tracking before each read to make sure they're processing and reading text along with everybody else. And finally, it's really important to ensure adequate time for the text reading component during each Word Connections lesson. Practicing reading connected text with feedback is incredibly important in developing reading proficiency, especially for students who are struggling to read. Thank you so much for your interest in Word Connections. Please visit our website and follow us on YouTube for more resources.